Hi, this is Joachim Kans, the singer of Hammerfall, and you're watching CMS TV.
I want to kind of throw out a little memorial or memorem for our good friend Motorhome, who passed away this week.
Yeah, how about that, dude, huh?
It's just like, wow. You know, you always hate to hear about, obviously I've never met him. I know you haven't either, but our good friend Tom and Motorhome, he started out as Motorhead, and I changed it to Motorhome when he said that he and his chick split up and he was living in a motorhome.
Right.
And that's how he got his name. It was Tom and Motorhead who would always call into the show, hanging out in the barn, listening to the CMS.
Listen to us in the barn, exactly.
Yeah. So when he left his chick and they split up and he decided he was going to live mobile. Said, yeah, you're no longer Motorhead, you're Motorhome.
That's right.
And unfortunately, he passed away this week.
Yeah, now he's motor dead.
Yeah.
So bummer. I like Shane a lot. I mean, him and we did talk a lot, actually, on Facebook. And he was a good dude, man. And, boy, what a bummer. You know, it's a bummer to see any of our CMS faithful, except for the complainers about the pre-records, die.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he was a good one. Good. I mean, people could say about, oh, he's a good caller and this and that, but he's a good dude. And him and Tom are outside of Tom the Scott and Motorhome. You know, getting to know them a little bit, at least through Facebook. They were both good dudes. So, you know, definitely was a bummer to me. I was like, God damn it, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
And I talked to Tom this week, and he's pretty tore up about it. But
I mean, that was his compadre, his drinking buddy.
Exactly. But yeah. So bummer. You're absolutely right. It was definitely a bummer.
Yeah. Young guy too, 45.
Yeah, 45 and done.
Yeah. And then the same thing happened to our good friend long-haired Mike almost 4 years ago.
Yeah, and he was 45.
He was only 45.
Yeah. So
just died of a heart attack out in the snow.
I guess 45 is the new 27, huh?
I'll tell you a personal story.
All right.
It really got into my head. In my family anyway, we don't have any history of any kind of heart problems or any kind of diseases or degenerative type of diseases or anything like that.
Right.
But when I turned 42, it just fucked with my head. I thought I was having a heart attack almost every day.
Why?
I don't know the reason why, because 42 seems to be a number. Elvis died at 42. It just seemed like 42 was a number. That's just like, you're 42. That's heart attacks, territory. And it was all psychological, obviously. But for some reason, I just got this in my head. Oh man, I'm 42. I'm going to die of a heart attack.
I mean, you're a good shape, dude. You don't really drink or anything. You're going to live to be 100.
Well, again, I know that. Rationally, I know that. Psychologically, it gets to you.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I guess it's all in the perspective of how you evaluate your life and whatever. If you still think you have more shit to do, and you're trying to do some different things. Because, I mean, let's face it, I might not live to kickoff in the morning, but I've done everything that I want to do. So if I did die, live, somewhere tonight before the morning comes, whatever. I've done it. I've done what I wanted to do.
But for some reason at that time, and again, it was just me doing it to myself psychologically.
Right.
And I don't know the reason why. Obviously, this was 13 years ago already.
Sure.
But at that time, for some reason, it was just like, oh man, that day's going to come and I'm just going to have a heart attack. And I don't know why. 42 was just weird. It was a weird thing, and well, here it is. We have two guys that we know at 45 that they just died.
Yeah.
And, again, I didn't know Shane at all as far as like one-on-one relationship, but, 45, that's pretty young. And of course, we knew our good friend long-haired Mike, and that guy was in shape, and, he was a singer, and he worked, and he didn't smoke, and he didn't abuse alcohol or drugs as far as I know. And he's out there shoveling snow and just died. It's like, holy shit. I mean, of course it could have been genetic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the details, but boy, when you hear something like that, that's just like, wow, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's crazy. It definitely is nuts.
Yeah. So when you hear about that, you hate to hear about that, and it, you kind of it kind of centers you for a minute, and you think, wow, life is short.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other people like a Vince Neil who's out there living like a slug, and then nothing ever stops that guy, or even a Keith Richards.
Yeah, Keith Richards.
Keith Richards, this guy's 70, whatever he is, 72 years old or something, and smokes and had hard partying days and drugs, and he may still even do some of that. I have no idea. And
he literally killed death with drugs.
And he's still going. He's still playing stadiums and arenas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you just never know.
Yeah, I mean, dude, healthy people die. Fat pieces of shit like me live to be 100. You never know.
You never know.
Although, let's be honest, there's not a whole lot of fat guys that are in their 70s. So I think I know my path.
Well, there's Dom DeLuise.
Is he still alive?
I don't know. Is he still alive? Look him up. Dom DeLuise. I think he's still alive. I'm not sure. Or Pavarotti.
Dom DeLuise is dead for 10 years now. And he lived to be like 70.
There you go.
Who's the other one? Pavarotti?
Yeah, Pavarotti.
Pavarotti is dead. He lived fairly old, though. He was 71.
Yeah, there you go.
So 70's the number. So I'll be 51 in a month. So I have like 19 years at best.
Yeah.
I got like 3 years at best. I'm almost done.
Really?
Fucking feel it.
You sure?
I fucking feel it, dude.
What is that? What, dude? I'm 55. I'll be 56 this year.
Right.
And again, I just have this mindset. I just got to take one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to plod through life and just go, oh, it's another day. Oh, I got to go to work. Oh, I come home, and I try to think of things that I hope I could do this, and someday I want to do that, or I want to try to do this.
Yeah.
I don't know when the clock is ticking.
I obviously haven't stopped doing stuff. I mean, I'm out living hard is what I'm doing these days. That's my.
Yeah. I mean, in the last year and a half, you've gotten out more in the last year and a half than you have in the last 10 years.
Of course, yeah. I finally got over divorce hangover, and it was like, fuck it, time to go run.
And you have. You go to a lot of shows. You hang out. You go, meet up with your friends. Periodically you throw little parties at your house.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you do this show most of the year,
except for last week.
And so yeah, you do a lot of things as well as I do. I mean, obviously the things that I do, unfortunately, I have to travel to do.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have. Unfortunately, I just don't have that option to do something close by.
Right.
Yeah, I have to go. I have to go do them.
Right. No, I just decided, I don't know, probably about 2 years ago that I wasn't like, I mean, I was partying really a lot when I first got divorced, as you remember.
You think? I don't remember that.
I was drinking and partying my ass off.
What? I don't remember that.
But then I had to kind of step back from it a little bit because I needed to be responsible for a few years to get Pinball PA off the ground.
Right.
But once Pinball PA kind of got itself set to see, to where it's to do what it's going to do, then I was like, you know what? I've only got X number of days left, and there's not a lot. And it's like, I better fucking enjoy the shit out of them as best I can. And, and I got lucky because Kelly likes to do the same shit that I do. So, we're constantly going to shows or going to, restaurants or bars or just at her house, and I enjoy that too. There's nothing wrong with, believe me, I love just sitting at her house, singing Zeppelin tunes, getting drunk out of my mind and smoking pot. I love it. I love it. There's nothing, that's as good to me as going to a show, is just sitting there with a vape pen full of fucking pot and shots of Fireball and chasing it with Jack and water. There's nothing better than that. That's fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
And is that going to keep me alive till I'm 71? Very doubtful. Well, whatever. You know what I've done? What else do I got to do? I've traveled the world. I've written all these books. I've done 10,000 hours of classic metal show. The only thing I ever wanted to do in my life was be on the radio. I've done that. I've done it successfully. Whether people believe it or not, for our little ecosystem that we've built something that's pretty damn big, at least in our little world. I've built businesses. I've been married. I have kids. What else is there? There's really nothing else. Grandkids. No. See, that deep cut, that is the nonsense that a mom would spew. You must be a chick. Even you must be a chick. That is a mom thing. Fucking grandkids.
Grandkids.
I have 3 kids, and I love my kids to death. And there is nothing that I want to do less than welcome their child to the world. I don't want to babysit their fucking kids. I don't want to spend time with their fucking kids. I don't want to buy little outfits for their kids. I don't want to watch their kids half grow until I die. No, I don't want to be a grandpa. No. Grandkids, get the fuck out of here.
You don't want to bounce a little guy on your knee?
No, I don't. I won't think it's cute when the 3-year-old calls me Papa. No.
Papa.
I won't think it's fun to dress up like Santa Claus for my grandkid.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of that shit. None of it.
That's the whole thing, man. I'm 55 now, and I still have people, don't you regret not having children? It's like, that never even crossed my mind even a day in my life. Never. It's never crossed my mind. Man, I wish I had kids. It's like, that never even, just the thought of that even makes me nauseous today.
Yeah. Well, if people want grandkids, that's fine. If people want kids, that's fine. I don't. No. Yeah, there's nothing to that sounds good to me. Nothing. You know what it says to me? You're on your way to death. That's really, when you say your grandpa whatever, that's just officially acknowledging that somebody should be digging a hole for you somewhere. That's what it means. Yep, gonna be fucking worm food soon.
Yeah.
Because I'm grandpa. And God forbid you make it to great grandpa. Then you're almost dust. No fucking thank you. I want none of it.
Well, here's the funny thing is years ago, this was 30 years ago.
Okay.
I dated a girl. She was a little older than me. I was 20. How old was I? I was 24. She was 30.
Right.
And she had her first child at 16.
Okay.
Teenage mother, right?
Okay.
So her daughter was 16, and it's the whole cycle thing. You know, you're influenced by your cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Her daughter had a child at 16.
Right.
So she was a grandma at 32.
Oh,
Can you imagine that?
no.
32-year-old grandma, and she's still young enough to have, if she wanted to, still have children. I could still be popping out babies while my offspring is popping off babies.
That's just terrible.
I know, isn't that something?
32 and having grandkids. Oh,
Yeah.
my God. She's a candidate to have great grandkids. A strong candidate.
Yeah, absolutely.
She might have great grandkids if she lives to be like 90.
Well, in my, there's a picture of my brother who's 10 years older than me to the day.
Okay.
Oddly enough. And there's a picture that we took at a family reunion 40 years ago. Actually, my niece got married today, as a matter of fact.
Okay. Wow.
And she's 40 years old.
Okay.
We had 5 generations alive at one time.
Wow.
There was my father's grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
my father's father, my father, my brother, and then his daughter.
How old was your father's grandmother?
She was almost 100.
What was your grandfather?
At that time, he was probably close to 80. Yeah.
And your dad was 60?
Yeah, he was, at that time, my mom was still alive. So I'm thinking he's like 55, maybe.
Oh. That's crazy shit there. Jesus Christ.
And my brother was, how old was my brother? I think my brother was in his mid to late 20s. And then his daughter was just, like a year old or something.
Is that 5 or 6?
That's 5.
Grandpa?
No, it's my father's grandmother, which was his father's mother.
That's 1. Your dad is 2.
No, then my grandpa.
Grandpa's 2.
2, then my dad.
Yeah.
That's 3. Then my brother. That's 4, and then his daughter. That's 5.
So, and is the oldest dead now?
Oh yeah, she died years ago.
Who knows? She might be 110 for all I know.
But at one point, there were 5 generations all living at the same time.
Jesus Christ. That's always crazy when you meet somebody and you're like, hey, do you remember the news of the Titanic?
Now, do you remember when Lincoln was president?
Yeah, I remember when they gave me my first penny. They had Lincoln on it.
I remember when Lincoln got shot. I was only 6 at the time, but I remember Lincoln got shot.
My pappy was teaching me how to pack a musket. Oh my God.
Yeah. So there you are. Yeah, I mean, the longevity in some families, it's obviously a genetic trait.
Right.
So, yeah, my niece, my brother's daughter, got married today for her first time at 40 years old in Washington, and here I am doing the show.
Only took her to 40 to be stupid.
Well, no, I guess. I mean, because she's had a career. And I talked about it last week on the show that she's had a career working for the government and being an oceanographer. So, yeah, she's at that point now. It's just like, yeah, I guess I'm getting married now. It's like, well, I don't think that, again, I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't think that there's kids in the future. I don't think my brother is like going to have grandchildren. I mean, his daughter's 40 now. I mean, it's not that you can't have children after 40, but it's highly unlikely.
Yeah. Well, I am very hopeful that my daughter's eggs dry the fuck up because I really want any fucking kids, grandkids. I cannot fathom having grandkids.
No.
Just is not something I want.
Yeah. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hi guys, this is Jason Lundgren from Seattle, Washington. How you guys been?
We're well. What's on your mind tonight? Are you talking about grandkids?
No, because I don't have grandkids, but I do have like 4 nieces and a nephew. So I don't know it's not, but still, it's kind of like sort of in the family bloodline.
What's in the bloodline?
Well, since I'm an uncle and my brother had my niece, and my sister and my brother-in-law have like a niece and a nephew, and the other 2 nieces are from like my sister-in-law's.
All right, enough of that. What did you call for?
I'm not
okay.
following that at all. But go ahead.
Okay, TMI. All right. Well, right now I'm watching like the Cal UW game, but they delayed that game because of the lightning. So I want to like chat with you guys about like because Chris was mentioning earlier that like he watched the AEW All Out pay-per-view, which was I was gonna buy that, but it was fucking expensive. It was like $4.99. I'm like, forget it.
How much?
I did watch the highlights though.
How much? What was it?
It was like $4.99 plus tax since I'm from the state of Washington.
Was it $4.99 or $499?
No, I wish. No, it's $49.99.
And that was too much? Did you buy that, Chris?
I did.
Okay, is that what you paid?
Yeah, but of course I'm rich. Remember?
so 50.
Of course he is.
so $50 was too steep for you?
Yeah, it's too steep for me. But as I said earlier in my last call in, I work at a grocery store, so of course things like buying the pay-per-view, their full price are very steep. But I heard there's a website I can go to where I can just watch the pay-per-view events for free. I think Ghost was the one who showed me the website.
All right.
All right. So go ahead, elaborate on this. So you bought the wrestling pay-per-view or didn't buy it?
No, I didn't buy it though, but I did watch the highlights today on YouTube, and I'm glad Chris made the right choice for buying the pay-per-view because it actually lived up to the hype. Because most of the pay-per-views that and they always hype that shit up, often don't they live up to it.
So Chris, I don't follow this stuff, and I know that obviously we took the week off, and you did have a party at your house. Yeah. What was it worth it to you? Was it a good thing? Did you enjoy it? Did it live up to your expectations?
First of all, any week that I don't have to look at Jackal's fucking Deep Purple collection makes it worth it. So yes, it was worth it just on that level alone. But yeah, it was great. It was fun. People got fucked up, which I liked. The tag team matches. I don't know. Oh, no, that's okay. You go ahead and talk through me. That's fine, dude. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that, man. But I remember I heard one of your broadcasts saying you don't allow people to ruin your fun while you're watching a wrestling event. Like those girls who just want to cause drama. I hate that.
Yeah, me too. Definitely not a fan of that. Anyway, before I was interrupted. Oh no, you go right ahead again, dude. Right.
Oh, okay, my bad. I've been interrupted lately. But anyway, the reason I'm calling you guys though is because the AEW pay-per-view, the ones I did see, the highlights of it are great. Okay. And I'm glad Chris Jericho won is the first ever AEW World Heavyweight Champion, because there's no other wrestler who deserved it more than Chris Jericho.
That's something.
What do you think, Chris? So were you pulling for Jericho to win the title?
No, honestly, no. I would have rather seen Hangman Page win it, but I
wanted to like Hangman.
All right, I've had enough of this.
Thank you. I was trying to text it. I couldn't find you in my fucking phone.
That's more than I can handle. It's this is just rambling for the sake of rambling. It's I know you're a fan. I don't watch it obviously, but this had to go somewhere. What was your point? It was too expensive. I couldn't rent it. I saw the highlights. What do you think, Chris?
Here's my theory almost universally on the Classic Metal Show.
Right.
If one of us isn't into it on some level, we don't bring it up. Did I bring up the pay-per-view?
No.
No, I did not. Because I know you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So what kind of conversation are we going to have about it? I'll sit there and go, well, first there was this match, and then there was this, and you're not going to believe what Nyla Rose did. And and you'll be like, uh-huh. Yep. Great.
Yeah, I know that. I know that's a thing for you. I know you enjoy that.
Yeah, I love it.
It gives you a chance to just kind of hang out with the boys and do your thing,
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a secondary distraction for you, just to have an opportunity just to hang out, right?
Sure.
But I personally, as much as I've seen some of this stuff, I've seen highlights and various other things. It's like, this does nothing for me. Nothing.
Well, you and Jason could spend the day together then if you've seen the highlights.
Here's the thing. I was actually talking about this to Don's girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's in the production end of it, and we were talking about the WWE, and she was telling me about what a fantastically run organization that is.
AEW or WWE?
Well, whatever it is, the whole wrestling federation thing.
There's two of them. There's
probably
WWE.
So this is how much I know about it.
Yeah, it's probably WWE.
But she was telling me that they are a big time organization operation.
Oh yeah, WWE. That's $1 billion company.
That's what we're talking about, and how much production that they're into and whatnot, and in the fact that they often call on her and her organization to do things for them.
Right. Okay.
So I would have never guessed, just as somebody who's not a fan, as to how big or how massive business-wise that is.
Oh yeah, WWE is huge, dude.
What is the appeal? Who is the core audience for something like this?
Well, I would say it's probably guys our age. It's the same guys that like UFC, really. It's kind of a combination of the thing that's used to be cool about wrestling. It's not as cool as it used to be, but it was the combination of kind of soap opera meets violence.
Okay.
Which it told a story, and then they'd beat the shit out of each other to fucking solve the problem, whatever the problem was that there was a lead up to for a couple of weeks. They don't do enough storytelling anymore. Now it's just fucking lame match after lame match in WWE, which is why WWE kind of lost their way. They were huge there in the late 90s or mid 90s, I guess. Them and WCW were the two organizations, and it was huge because you had big stars, and it was on mainstream TV, and it was a lot of, there were a lot of big stars that came out of that era. Now, that they're trying to, stupid WWE is trying to placate to everybody now. So it's softer, and they don't let blood be in the matches very often, and nobody gets hit in the head with chairs anymore. None of the good shit, which is why this AEW is making some noise. One, it's incredibly well funded.
Well, what does AEW stand for?
All Elite Wrestling. It's just another organization. Like WWE is World Wrestling Entertainment.
All right.
And All Elite it's a new organization, and it has guys, some people that people know from the WWE days and from, other organizations around the world. There's a bunch of them that are out there. There's New Japan. There's TNA or Impact, I think it's called now. There's Ring of Honor. There's quite a few wrestling organizations out there. AEW is incredibly well funded. It's owned by the guy that owns the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
So he's got fat money that he can spend on this thing, and he's doing that. He's buying bigger names, and he's buying TV deals, and but he's letting these guys do what WWE doesn't do, where WWE stops everything to make sure that it's PG and plays to the kids. Dude, they had this one match on AEW on the last two pay-per-views ago, I guess it was. They had Cody Rhodes fighting his brother, who used to be Goldust in the WWE, and it was so fucking. I've never seen a match more bloody in my life. It was great. He came out and fucking like half his face was painted red, and by mid-match you couldn't tell where the blood stopped and the paint started. It was fantastic. They beat the shit out of him. I mean, he was cut huge, and even in the last pay-per-view, I don't think it was on purpose. I think it was a total mistake. But Cody Rhodes, who has like really blonde hair, like bleachy blonde hair, he got cracked in the head by the side of a chair and split him open. Had to be 15, 20 stitches deep. It was fucking excellent. I loved it.
Well, again, I'm asking as someone who really doesn't know shit about any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Since there are champions in these realms, obviously some of the biggest names in wrestling obviously was The Rock and of course Hulk Hogan, and those are the old school guys. How do they determine who's going to be the champion when all of this is staged?
I think they try to figure out who will make money is really what they do, and they make that person the champion. If a person has a significant amount of either positive buzz or absolute hate toward them, they will absolutely put a belt on them and have them stomp around as the champion. And again, it's different in the different leagues now, because like in WWE, the champions by and large are usually popular. Seth Rollins is a champion now. He's a popular wrestler. Kofi Kingston is a champion right now. He's a very popular. He has a faction called the New Day, which is a bunch of ass clowns that throw pancakes to the fans and dress in neon colors, and just plays to the kids. So
they're the Striper of wrestling. Instead of throwing Bibles, they throw pancakes.
Throw pancakes to the crowd, and they had a phase where they were riding an ice cream bike to the fucking thing, and what they stink. I hate the fucking New Day, but but they put in the popular guys because they'll sell a lot of merch, and WWE right now is they're very focused on charities. They do a ton of charity work, whether it's Make-A-Wish or whether it's, they've launched a few charities, Connor's Cure for pediatric cancer and shit like that. So they have popular champions that go around, having their tour of, we're going to be the good business. We're going to do Make-A-Wish. And, they go out and do a Make-A-Wish with some fucking kid, it's
some fucking kid.
Fucking kid that's dying.
Right.
I mean, that's what they do. And more power to them, but it doesn't play to the older fans that could give two shits about Connor's Cure. All we want to see is these guys mashing the fuck out of each other. All right. And that's why AEW is coming on strong, because they do fucking some really dangerous shit. I mean, they had a tag match or not a tag. It was just a no rules match last week. And in one of the matches, they took a handful of tacks, stuck it in a guy's mouth, taped it shut, and kicked him in the face. I was like, fucking A, that's gotta fucking hurt. Then in another move, they had a skateboard that was covered with tacks on the bottom of it. Okay. He jumped off the top rope, landed the tack part on a guy's back, and then raked it across his back and ripped his back to shit. I was like, yeah, I was all for it.
Well, obviously these guys, these performers, agree to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
See, I have so many questions about this, because it's just like, because this is all a preconceived notion, and it's just like, well, what we're going to do is we're going to do this and that. Here's the move. And we're going to, as you said, well, we're going to throw tacks in your mouth and tape your mouth shut
Right.
I mean, do you think that there's any kind of rehearsal for this, any kind of practice, so these guys don't end up suffering some kind of debilitating injury? Or
I would hope.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I know they do rehearse their matches for pay-per-views.
Okay.
You know, and I do know in WWE, a WWE day, like when they have TV or whatever, when they have an event, the WWE day starts about 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm sure they go over the script and they memorize what they can and they work out. You know, I don't think everything is scripted per se, but I think moves like how they're going to end the match is scripted, and I think certain move sets that they're going to do are scripted so that they can transition in and out, because it's very like you said, your friend Jennifer knows it's a very well run organization, and I mean WWE is to the second run. When they do TV, they don't go over and almost, I can count on my hand. I've been watching WWE since the 80s, and I could count on my hand the times that I was watching live TV and it didn't end like appropriate at the right time. Like they went off the air with shit still happening.
Okay.
They really get everything together to the second. They have everything planned out, and the way they do it is by, you know, the refs are all involved. The ref wears a earpiece and tells them when to move and when to, you know, how much time is left and all that other shit. So it's well orchestrated, that's for sure.
Well, I do understand that part, but let me get to you now.
Uh-huh.
Being that it is orchestrated and it is decided who's going to come out the champion, whatever the match is or whatever. What is the attraction for you personally to watch this and go, man, that was great?
It's just stupid fun. It's just stupid guy. It's the same, dude. We all know John Wick is not a real person, but every one of us will watch his fucking movies. You know, I mean, that's it's like anything. Why do you watch The Godfather? You know, that didn't really happen, but
it's a movie though. But these are real people doing a skit for the most part.
Yeah, agree. It's no different. It's the combination. For me personally, I love watching it. I don't love watching it only like by myself. That's boring to me. But if I have somebody over and, you know, we get a couple of beers in us or something, and, you know, and we're not sitting there going, oh my God, this is fake. You know, we just roll with it for what it is.
Okay.
And just have fun with it. You know, I mean, for me and my kid, my son that lives in PA, you know, he's big into the wrestling too. And when we watch the pay-per-views, he'll text me. We'll text back and forth through an entire pay-per-view. Be like, oh, did you see that? Or, oh, what happened there? Or, you know, or, oh, that didn't look like that should have happened that way or whatever. You know, we just text back and forth, and it becomes like it's like a thing. And, you know, obviously he was here last weekend. You know, he came in for the pay-per-view, and it was cool, you know, to just spend time. And he got loaded. Holy shit. Oh my God.
Okay.
He was bombed. And you think I'm loud? Oh my God. I couldn't hear the fucking TV. But he was here, and my brother was here, and it was just, you know, it was kind of like a family thing sort of that we just did. So it's just fun. I mean, it's dumb fun. It's dumb fun, and yeah, you know, it's orchestrated, but if you watch any sport, do you really believe that all of that is not orchestrated? I mean, come on.
You think the NFL is orchestrated?
I think that there are certainly times in certain games where calls are certainly egregious enough to think, yeah, the fix was in on that.
You really? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, dude, the reason the Saints didn't go to the Super Bowl last year when their fucking receiver got hit 5 yards before the pass got there, and they didn't call a pass interference? Fuck out of here. It's because the other team would make more money in the Super Bowl.
Okay. I'm not invested in any of this. So to me, and again, I'm well aware of the whole wrestling thing ever since the 80s mostly.
Dude,
and I've watched some of it, and it's just like I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, and that's cool. But I mean, dude, everybody watches whatever sport they watch because they enjoy some feature of it. And I think the when you add money, you add opportunity to fucking cheat. And at least with the WWE or with wrestling, you automatically know it's a work. So there's no real way to cheat per se. I mean, cheating is part of it. Wrestling is almost like it's a perversion of all sports.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't think that there is fucking referees, if you watch any NBA basketball, anybody that's a named star, whether it's Harden or whether it's LeBron or whether it's what's his name, Steph Curry or whoever, you watch these guys and they take 6 fucking steps before they shoot the ball, never get called for traveling. Then you see some bum that's like number 12 on the bench and he takes 1/10 of an extra step and they're whistling him to get the ball back into the star's hands. All of it is rigged somewhat. There's a definite reason that you see the Patriots in the fucking Super Bowl every year.
Mm-hmm.
And the same teams that win in every sport almost universally, whether it's baseball or hockey or football or college football. There's a reason that you see the same teams year in and year out, and that's because there's some work in. And the reason there's some work in is because it's big money.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I understand the money aspect of it.
I mean, dude, with the Rose Bowl, what would and I don't even watch college sports, so forgive me if I'm naming 2 teams that make sense and I'm just being stupid, but what's going to make more money for the Rose Bowl, which is considered the daddy of all fucking college football bowl?
It's the Super Bowl of college.
Yeah. So what would people pay the most money to see it? Would they pay for like Ohio State and Michigan or Arkansas or whatever Nick Saban's at, wherever that is? Or would they pay to see Cincinnati play Central Texas State?
Right.
It's all about money. It's always all about
I know all about that, but as far as like the appeal of a scripted sport, which obviously wrestling is a scripted sport.
But people don't take
I've just never quite grasped the whole, appeal of it. And again, I know it's really popular. I see people, obviously they sell out big arenas when they have these things, but it's just like, boy, I don't get it.
But what's the appeal to anything scripted? It's only if whatever they've scripted appeals to you. Like you and I, we did a segment 6 months ago or whatever about that horrific One Day at a Time sitcom on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
That had zero appeal to you or I. Zero.
And it got canceled. But there were people that did watch it and were like, oh, this is good. There's people that watch highlight. There's people that watch professional gambling, which that one, that to me, I mean, watching people on TV play cards just seems like the ultimate of boring. That or NASCAR. Or golf.
Or golf. At least golf. I mean, most of us have played golf and understand that it's hard.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you're playing in a massive area and you're just dealing with one small 2-inch a ball that's only 3 or 4 inches in diameter.
Yeah. I mean, golf at least there is a skill to it. You just have to know, I mean, is there a real skill to playing cards? There's a skill to gambling, I guess, but is there a skill to playing cards?
Well, there is. It's just it's more mental than anything else.
Is it a skill that you would watch?
Play
it. we've all played cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all gone to the casino and plunked down $100 and played some 21 or whatever, or Hold'em or something. But would you ever see yourself turning on the TV and saying, you know what, I got to see this guy fucking go for the big championship at Texas Hold'em?
Well, I know people who enjoy playing cards. It's just like, you know, I know that there's a psychology to it.
Sure.
And the skillful, you know, what does this guy have, and what did I just play, and what did the dealer just deal out, and you know, I guess it's more mathematical.
It is, but I don't know. Have you ever once spent, and I have, but have you ever spent an hour or two watching the World Poker Championship?
I've watched maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and yeah, okay, I've had enough of this.
Yeah. If you can't tell me, you watched enough to know, though. You've watched wrestling at least 5 or 10 minutes, right?
I have. Mm-hmm.
Wrestling is a bunch of goofy-looking dudes in tights doing goofy shit, correct?
It is.
Watching cards is a bunch of goofy-looking dudes dressed in goofy-looking shit playing cards. True?
That is true.
So it's a similar thing.
Well,
There's
but the thing is it preconceived who's going to be the champion at Texas Hold'em?
You could, sure you could.
I'm not saying could it. I'm just saying, do you think it is?
I don't watch it enough to know. Being that it's that there's big money involved, it wouldn't shock me.
Mm-hmm. Well,
no.
The only reason I bring this up, and again, I know it's popular because a lot of people obviously are into it, and it's a $1 billion industry. But when they already know the organization that is,
yeah.
Well, The Rock is going to be the champion now, or he's going to be the reigning champion. And I'm mentioning old school people because I don't know who the most current people are. But, you know, it's just like, yeah, well, Hulk is going to take the championship again. It's
right.
Like, we've decided that. So I guess from an inside perspective, I go, well, what do the other wrestlers in that organization think that, okay, guys, Hulk is going to take the championship today, but you're still going to go out there and do whatever it is that you guys do, but
right.
you're not going to be the winner today.
Well, a lot of them are just happy to have a job because there's not many of those jobs. But more and more, and especially now in the fucking faggot ass world of social media, you know, a lot more of them are complaining about that. A lot of them complain about the fact that they make less money. Like the biggest name right now, and he's sort of retired, but he's probably the biggest name, and you've heard of this guy, is John Cena.
Yeah, of course. I know who that is.
And you've seen him. He's done some movies. He's starting to get his rock run in the movie world and stuff now. But one of the biggest complaints about him is that he got so powerful in WWE that he held people back. Like when he was supposed to lose matches or lose championships or lay down for the other guy, he would pitch a bitch and say that he was going to, you know, quit or retire or whatever without letting the other guys get a hold. And it ended up making the product less strong because instead of everybody having some sort of reason to watch these other guys, you knew if it wasn't, like there's certain guys even now, if they wrestle, they're not going to lose. Like one of the guys is Brock Lesnar, you know, the UFC guy.
I know who that is.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar he wrestles maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but they always put a belt on him because he's money for the WWE. You know, he'll sell whenever he does show up, he sells a lot of fucking shirts. That's really what it comes down to. Every wrestling fan I know hates him. No one can stand him, but people buy shirts. He's good for selling. But doing that weekends now, it makes so anytime you see a pay-per-view and the headliner is Brock Lesnar versus whoever the fuck it is, you already know a lot of times, even me, who is a wrestling fan, if I see that Brock Lesnar is the headline match, I fucking turn it off. I'll watch till they start introducing Lesnar and whoever, and I just turn it off because I know he's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm usually like, well, I can watch this and be pissed, or I can fucking cut out and save 30 minutes.
There you go.
You know, so, dude, I mean, there's a lot of reasons people watch it. I mean, there is a part of it is it's that one father-son thing that you can do, you know, with your boys, you know, and it's not something that's influenced in a bad way by the wife. You know, you can take your boys and you can fucking have a little bit of it's crossover enough to where it's not totally kid oriented because it is violent, you know, like, you know, for a lot of dads, they can't take their kid to like boxing or whatever, or UFC, because it's just too violent and the moms will never go for that.
Right.
But they'll go for wrestling. They'll go for wrestling because they see the dummy throwing pancakes out to the crowd. You know, and so that's an appeal. And for the grown-up that's taking their kid, you know, you can interact with your kid, and in all honesty, they still have the female wrestlers, which are usually hot as fuck, and that's always an appeal. And that's definitely an appeal in WWE right now. They got some fucking hot bitches right now. Fucking Alexa Bliss and Mandy Rose. Holy shit. Talk about taking a gallon of my sperm. Holy smokes. They are hot as hot can be. So you know, it's kind of that combination of all of it. You know, there's some adult stuff, there's some kid stuff, it's all silly. I mean, if you're one of these guys that fucking thinks it's real and you're taking it as such, then you're a moron and you shouldn't be watching wrestling in the first place.
Right, I agree.
If you're just out to have fun and you take it as what it is, you take it the same way you would take Hot Tub Time Machine. If you consider Hot Tub Time Machine a real movie about real important things, then you're a fucking idiot. But if you just, for the silly fun that it is, you enjoy it.
Right. Well, with WWE or any of the wrestling things, it's the Steel Panther of you know, entertainment. Yeah.
You're absolutely, that's a great analogy to it. It is definitely the Steel Panther of entertainment. You know, the real entertainment, I think the lowest point is comedians, which is sad, but it is true. Then wrestlers, then TV actors, then movie stars. I think that's the pecking order, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
But you know what? And like with all of those things, there's people that like all of them. I like all four. I like TV shows. I love TV shows. I love acting. I love movies. Although I have one movie that we will talk about tonight that is just fucking terrible. But I like comedians, obviously. Me and you skipped doing the show live so that we could go see a comedian.
Right.
And I like wrestling, so I'm just a big entertainment guy, I guess.
Yeah.
And before I go, shout out to the Classic Metal Show. I did an interview on there yesterday. Dudes are intelligent, awesome, prepared, funny. Please check them out. Classic Metal Show. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.